Alright, so hello everyone, and I know it's been a while, but today I'll be playing as Democratic Russia. That's right, we'll be playing as the democratic version of the Soviet Union. And I'm not gonna be using the default game for this, obviously, because the focus tree in vanilla, HOI 4, doesn't allow you to actually go democratic in any kind of meaningful way. But I've downloaded a mod that essentially expands the Soviet Union focus tree and gives you a fascist option, a more fascist option, and sort of a federation option. I suppose that's more of a monarchist or non-aligned movement, something like that. Basically lets you go play Tsarist Russia, but it also allows you to go down the democratic path, which we'll be doing today, because usually whenever you play Hearts of Iron 4, you tend to just go with the either default communist or the fascist options, because those are supposed to be the most fun. But today I decided to go down the democratic tree, but first let's do the Stalin Constitution, even though we're going to be getting rid of Stalin quite shortly. I still feel that getting that political power early on is the better option, and we'll be building a lot of civilian factories. And today I decided to go with historical focuses, because we are going to be joining Poland and their attempt to stop the German hordes. And it's probably going to be tough, as it always is when you try to go democratic and you're not playing the USA. But I think it's going to be quite a lot of fun. Let's bump up that fighter production. Also, since we are playing as Russia or the Soviet Union, we don't have to actually worry about the Japanese, because they're gonna sign the non-aggression pact with us quite shortly, or hopefully they will. Because obviously we don't actually need to worry about that front at all, essentially, when we are playing with historical focuses, obviously. I'm also playing with a couple more mods. I'm playing with the expanded, let me just put the volume down a tiny bit. We're playing with the expanded decisions mod, and I'm also playing with the mod that lets you basically use your field marshals as they were in the good old days of Hearts of Iron 4, and you didn't have to worry about all those pesky limits on your units when it comes to field marshals and generals and stuff like that. But so generals are expanded to have 48 troops, while field marshals obviously have an unlimited amount. And I think that's obviously it's not realistic, but I do feel that that's the better option. And since we are playing as the Soviet Union, but we'll be going democratic, I'm not gonna support the Republican Spain, the Republicans in Spain, more rather, but I'll be definitely trying to just stay put a while, and then whenever Germany decides to go after Poland, I'm gonna just completely Shrek them, or at least that's the plan for now. Alright, so now that the Stalin Constitution is done, we do have quite a lot of PP, and the first thing we're gonna do is go to war economy, because once we are democratic, we're not gonna be able to do that, and Uncle Joe must go. Joseph Stalin is assassinated. As long as Stalin remains in power, there's no hope for political reform. He must go. Yes, indeed. They will just go democratic socialism, glasnost, etc., etc. And this is extremely powerful. More so if you go fascist, obviously, because you don't actually have to do the Great Purge, which is one of the biggest buffs, nerfs in when you're playing as the Soviet Union. But what it also allows you to do is go down the rehabilitated. Oh Jesus, I can't speak. It's too late. Rehabilitated military, and then military reorganization, lessons of war, etc., etc. I'm not entirely sure if you can also do these if you're playing just regular vanilla Hearts of Iron 4 or the non-modded Hearts of Iron 4, and you decide to go non-communist, I think if you don't do the Great Purge or the Permanent Revolution, or basically you don't do either of these, you are basically unable to do any of these focuses, or at least I think that's how it works. I'm not entirely sure, but another order of business is to get rid of Voroshilov, promote Konev, and make him a field marshal because he has some sick ass stats, and Voroshilov, while, you know, an interesting cavalry commander, is not going to be needed because we are not going to be using any cavalry at all because, you know, they're just bad. Okay, so Uncle Joe Must Go has been completed. Now the Central Committee, divided bureaucracy. Political power minus 15%, and in general is just completely terrible. So instead of dealing with that, we're gonna go down the democratic socialism. Actually, I think if you want to be like, you know, if you want to really challenge yourself, what you could do is just, you know, do the Uncle Joe Must Go, and just play the rest of the game with the Central Committee of the, you know, of the All Union Communist Party. That'd be actually quite a challenge because you have some severe debuffs. But what this allows us to do is to really ramp up that democracy. Actually, I think that the mod also changes the percentage of the All Unionist communist support in your country. Because I'm not entirely sure, but I do think that you start off with at least 70%. Maybe it's changed by you killing Stalin, but I'm not entirely sure, and yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that one out later, because it does seem to be quite strange. But with that, with us going democratic, obviously we're gonna disband the Comintern and join the Allies. Because you just don't see that too often. Actually, I wonder how the German AI is going to react to that. If they actually change it all, or if it's just you know, stubbornness of or if the stubbornness of the Germans just keeps on going. But I do think that it might be an interesting sight. But no, regardless of anything, I think that if the Soviet Union, you know, sort of reinstated the alliance with the French, or if, you know, the democratic side, or the White Russian Army, or whatever you want to call it, or the Kerensky government in 1917 actually didn't continue the war, this is something that actually could happen, you know, because obviously I suppose it would be called Russia, or the sort of Russian parliament, or whatever, would still have sort of this size of the country, obviously without the absence of probably these parts, because that was definitely lost. That was definitely lost in the 18 or 20 Soviet-Polish War, and I think actually that would be quite an interesting focus tree for Paradox to develop, because the vanilla, or the basic focus tree for, or just the default focus tree of the Soviet Union and for vanilla, or the unmodded Hearts of Iron 4 game, is absolutely terrible. Because obviously this period of, or the first 30 years, let's say, of the Russian state, or the country of Russia, or what is in this period the Soviet Union, was just completely divided. You know, you had the Tsarists and the Tsar in the early days. Then you obviously had the Kerensky government, or the provisional government, whatever you want to call it. And then actually the Duma government would be the more appropriate term. And then you obviously have the Bolshevik Revolution in October/November. And you know, so this period of time was Kerensky returns. What this means is we actually get him as an advisor. We don't actually have to pay for him, because that would be terrible. But yeah, I think it's sort of shocking that you had like 7 revolutions during the 30 odd years, or maybe more, rather 20 years since the end of the First World War into the 1936 start date, basically, of this game. And the developers didn't think to include a single non-historical option for the Soviet Union apart from the Trotsky thing, which even that is sort of it's sort of a stretch, I think, because Trotsky wasn't actually that good of a leader. At least he reportedly wasn't. Obviously, it's up to debate how much of those statements are just sort of propaganda by the state. But I do think that bam, plus 42 oil. But I do think that it's kind of shocking that you don't actually get any sort of democratic or, let's say, Tsarist or even fascist options in the default tree. And obviously this mod is quite okay, but it's too small. If we're talking about like a democratic option for Germany, obviously it's enormous. It's giant. Well, not exactly giant, but you have all this, and obviously you can also use these ones and this. So it's kind of a pity that you don't actually get much of anything at all if you're playing or trying to play as non-historical Russia, because it's let's turn these ones into infantry, and the other guys want to turn into tanks. Exactly. Let's put them here. Give them to Rokossovsky, and let's turn them into tanks. Yeah. Obviously it's going to take a while, but what I was saying is that it's sort of shocking that you don't actually have any sort of alternate history options as the Soviet Union. And I really sincerely hope that they do change that in some sort of DLC that is going to be sort of coming soon or something. Democratic opposition forming, nice. But because obviously the next DLC is going to be focusing on the United States, and they do have some alternate history options right here, but it's not enough. Obviously, it's sort of lackluster. But when something like Canada has an alternate history option, it's not great, but it's something. How come the Soviet Union doesn't have it? Like, arguably one of the biggest contributors to the victory over the Third Reich and the Second World War, and they have like one option. Even the alternate Trotsky route is basically just communist, but a different kind of communist. And because this the base game doesn't differentiate between different types of communism, Marxism, Trotskyism, whatever, Maoism, Third World, something. Let the people be heard. Political power game minus 50%. Jesus. That's whatever. We'll live with it. It's not. Jesus, minus 50. That's quite a bit, isn't it? Okay, so I guess I'm not doing a focus then. Jeez. That's kind of bad. That's kind of a really bad buff. I guess I shouldn't have done it, but I mean, it's not like we can wait. I guess I'm just gonna do the rehabilitated. I guess, yeah, whatever. I could also go down positive heroism just to rush the extra research slot, but what we do need is to get we do need to get to the option of actually opening up political discourse and then holding the referendum, because this is not going to get us anywhere if we just sort of stand around. So I guess I'm just gonna skip a couple of focuses, but yeah, I'm gonna come back when we're actually democratic. Okay, so it did take us a while, and not doing any focuses for such a long time is really going to hurt us. But we can discredit the government and hold a national referendum. Bam. And now we are the Soviet Democratic Republics. Nice. And we do have the good old Russian flag. We do have Kerensky in charge, which he does actually look quite a bit different from this portrait to this one, but whatever, I'm not one to judge. And now we can finally do the Glasnost, which does a weekly stability +1, research time -2. We can revive the Entente, etc, etc. But you know, it's going to be quite a doozy, I suppose. So what are we gonna do now? Do we want? Not entirely sure. What I'm working on is not all that important. I guess we can do improved infantry weapons. I've also started to obviously train public demands rearmament. Do people have a right to feel safe? Of course. Conscription law changed to limited. I really love that feature of just playing democratic nations that Tentuva leaves faction, Mongolia leaves faction. We are going to disband the Comintern because yeah, it's not exactly Communist International, is it? It's more like I don't know. First election, Kerensky or Bukharin. Now, Bukharin is more of a socialist option under new leadership, so Trotsky plot and Home of the Revolution gone, which were really bad debuffs. Okay, so first election, either Bukharin or Kerensky. Bukharin is really good. Really good, but Kerensky, he's more of a socialist option, and Kerensky is, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how Kerensky was, if he was like a capitalist or something like that. Probably not, but let's go with Bukharin because the buffs are just too good, but the picture is really terrible, so not entirely sure if that was a good option, but there we go. So now with that out of the way, we can finally actually start earning some political power, because that was terrible. One thing that's actually really interesting is Operation Crocodile. Not entirely sure if that's from this mod or from the expanded decisions, but it does give you quite a lot of interesting stuff. Operation Crocodile, we have reason to believe that Germany has developed an extraordinary new destroyer which would render our submarine fleet obsolete. You want your backing from a clandestine operation to hijack it and bring it back here. Go ahead. And this, I guess it has like a chance to give you a really good destroyer or fleet or something like that. Sometimes it fails, sometimes it doesn't, probably. At least that's what I'm sort of getting from it. But one thing that's really interesting is that the Japanese have fired the incident here. Oh, the operation is successful, kind of. Blah blah blah. Basically, the guys destroyed a whole bunch of ships in the German Navy, but they supposedly managed to escape with a Schleswig-Holstein battleship. That's really badass. It's like a really overpowered focus, not focus, a decision. It gives you a battleship for free, and it destroys a whole bunch of German ships, basically. Which the German fleet isn't that strong to begin with, but this, you know, just buffs you up immensely. I'm not just sure if this is part of the Christianity, part of the Soviet Union, mod, or a different mod, but you know, it's quite interesting to say the least. Let's go positive heroism. Finally, we can do some focuses. I was sitting here for like half a year not doing anything with their focuses, so they're back. Stops being a general. General now interrogation somehow convicted him in defect, but unfortunately, an unnecessarily harsh blow from one of our agents has him convinced that he's Lord of the Seven Seas. Too bad, but at least we get rid of Rommel. That's a pretty good thing, isn't it? Yup, indeed. So with that, the legacy of Stalin. Yeah, make it Volgograd. Basically, I think we do that with the Glasnost focus, that Stalingrad is now back to being actually is now called Volgograd. Before it was obviously Tsaritsyn. Not entirely sure if it was actually Volgograd, you know, after the revolution for a few years. I should look that up. We really should look that up, because that's actually quite an interesting fact. I don't know. What was I saying about the Japanese? That they didn't actually go for the Khalkhin Gol battle with us at all, which is quite demoralizing, because I was really hoping to beat them. Maybe because we're democratic, they can't actually test the Soviets, because we're not the Soviets, but we still are the Soviet Democratic Republics. So I don't know. But what I do know is that we can finally do the focuses, which was really giving me a headache that we can't. But the Trudovics. Interesting. Okay, so I'll be coming back when something interesting happens. Okay, so the Germans are just about to do Danziger War. I obviously refused the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, which makes them sort of hate me, but I can live with that. And let's do joint military exercises. In the meantime, that I was basically not recording, let's say. What happened was that I just went down the classic focus tree right now, but I also did the Revive the Entente, which makes me sort of able to join the Allies quite a bit sooner. I protected the Baltics, I sort of gained all the Finnish lands. It also made the Finnish democratic, and I gave them my protection, which is actually, or the guarantee of independence, which is quite a good focus. And now I'm doing the joint military exercises, which should be interesting. But now the Polish have refused the German ultimatum, the Russian horde will be able to stomp in. Let's join the war. End of isolation. Brilliant. But yeah, there we go. Poland joined allies. So now that that's going on, let's rush our dudes in. This is going to be absolutely brilliant. There's this little salient. So let's do that. Actually, let's use our light tanks for that. Let's use good old Zhukov for that. And we'll see how fast this this little adventure of the Germans goes. I haven't actually tried this one that much yet. Only played with the fascistry, but so let's take all these fighters and just assign them to the infantry. It's going to be quite interesting. Come on guys, hurry up, hurry up. And let's accept the Lend-Lease, of course. So now we are facing off against a giant horde, let's say. Hopefully our tanks and stuff will be able to stop them. Let's try and bust through right away. That would be actually quite useful if we manage to. With the infantry, I'm not really hoping to go on the offensive right away. Just want to keep Poland alive because they're quite a useful ally. They're a good salient here, and it would be quite unfortunate to lose them. I feel that if I didn't have to wait that long period of time, I think nice circlant. If I didn't have to wait that long period of time between actually picking focuses, I would have to, I would be able to much sooner, naval combat. Oh nice. Well, I guess with the combined French, British, and I suppose now Russian fleet, we should be able to just completely decimate them. Let's go around Königsberg and into the back. Who's justifying? German Reich justifying on us. Around Maginot. Okay, that's quite interesting. You haven't even defeated Poland. You're supposed to go around Maginot. Well, that's on you, not on me, but nice try, I suppose. Let's try and cut these guys off. Or should we just rush Berlin? Let's rush Berlin. Spearhead to Berlin with the tanks. Okay, Poland joined the Allies. Large ship and low strength. Basically, with this kind of combination, I doubt the Germans will even have a chance doing anything. But the French are for some reason attacking. That's not a good idea. I don't trust the French with attacks, but Okay. Okay, so I want the Germans to get distracted. I want them to, like, communism defeated. Okay. Okay, so we're busting through the Maginot. Are you serious? The French are incompetent even with the Soviet Union on their side from the start of the war. Okay, so we have to actually start attacking, otherwise the French are going to just completely lose. What are these? Oh, they are National Spain. Did they join the Axis, or are they just, no. They are just volunteers. Okay, so hopefully we actually manage to bust through here for a complete frontline attack. I suppose we won't, but with enough of a relentless assault, hopefully at least it's going to relieve the French a little bit. Not hoping for much though, obviously. Yeah, light tanks quite low on that. Let us actually stop the production of those. We can produce all the infantry we want, obviously. Should we go extremely aggressive with the infantry? Let's go extremely aggressive with the infantry. I think we can actually beat them because we have just an enormous amount of units. We probably have insane amounts of casualties. Actually, they have more than we do, so that's quite good. The fucking French, man. That's just that's just the worst. Why did you even build a Maginot if you're gonna just lose it like this? Like, what the hell? Jesus. But man, the Slovakians are actually putting up quite a fight, which is moderately surprising. Are we actually repairing anything now? Because going to the Polish, I want to actually go for like an in-depth domination of the world with this. I just want to see how the war would go if we if the Soviets were to join, or the Russians were to join the Allies, like, very early in the war. Wait, what? Okay, that was just an error. It's just a bug. But are we out of German territory? No, yeah, no, we are in German territory. We're only using light tanks, and our infantry isn't exactly the best ever, of course. The Germans managed to land here. What the hell? Where's our fleet? Did the Germans defeat our fleet? No. How the hell did they land here? Okay, I'm confused. Okay, our assault seems to be going okay. Japanese provocation. There we go. This is the Kalkin Government. It's incredibly late, but here we are at last. I'm not entirely sure if the Hungarians joined the war, but just in case they do. I know the Romanians probably don't. I'm not entirely sure about the Hungarians, though, so I'm gonna just dump 26 divisions on their border, just in case, because I'm not entirely sure what they're about to do, but if you try anything fun, we'll take them out in a jiffy. And yeah, so that's that. France has capitulated. Brilliant. Goddamn French. Can you trust them with anything this good encirclement? It's really good encirclement. Oh. If the Hungarians don't join them, that is. No, that's a good amount of divisions dead. Okay, so we're about to take Berlin. Without me really doing anything, but there we go. How's our aerial thing? Not the best. Okay, we are actually pointing the fall of Berlin. No, the Polish troops. Let's actually request Berlin just to see the event fire twice. Brandenburg. The fall of Berlin twice. Nice. I love that about this game. You can just request the province and it's gonna give you the same event. Okay, so I think it's about time that we stopped with the relentless assault, especially with the tanks, because I don't think we're up to snuff with that at all. We can let the Polish do the majority of the work now. Can we go to total mobilization? Of course we can. Brilliant. Let's also check on Kalkingol, how it's doing. When are they going to do it? 8 days, okay. Communist minority. Oh, I see. I see. So that's actually quite an interesting event. So you can just recruit the old communists into the army. It's pretty good. It's pretty good indeed. So are they now just relentlessly attacking? Because that would be sick. We have taken out. Oh, there we go. Are we actually going to win this? We should. We have a just pure tank here. Yeah, there we go. That sort of formation of the army always wins at Kalkingol for some reason. I mean, I get it, you know, I get it, but it's just funny to me. Okay, now let's try a southern thrust with the whole army. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with these divisions. Probably nothing, but you know. Shouldn't the Germans be justifying wars on everybody right now? No, but the Hungarians, they're fascists, but they're not going to join the. They're not going to join the Axis for some reason. Production none. Brilliant. Okay, we do have some repairs. Or the tanks still coming. Doesn't matter. Wonder if I just slam them. Yeah, let's just put them inside the meat grinder. It's going to be quite a lot of fun. Bam. Let's see how well they do. Chief Air Force, air superiority, obviously. There you go, Netherlands. The second front again, I guess. Belgium. So now that they are engaged in another front, let's attack. So we relieve our allies a bit. Just a tiny bit. Yeah, that's not going good, that offensive at all. So let's stop it. Let's just defend for a while. Also, let's merge these guys and give them to this. Search and destroy, just in case the Romanians join in and try to land cheeky invasion, I suppose. But I don't think that's going to be much of a big deal, even if they try anything like that. How much were you repairing? Not much at all. So that's okay, I guess. Sure, let's get a better relation with the US. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to help right now, but Jesus, the Allies are doing nothing. Come on, guys. I mean, like, I get it, the Vichy guys, but Italy really taking you out in in Africa? What the hell is this? Oh wow, these guys are doing really some heavy attrition. Let's pull them back. All these Polish troops, man. All those like 5 Polish troops. Okay, I guess the tanks weren't really doing anything anyway. Light tanks. The Belgians are holding their own though, a little bit. Better than I expected them to. Imagine if I wasn't in the Allies, how bad would the British and the French be doing right now? Because, yeah, basically holding half the German army at this front, and they can't even hold Africa against the fucking Italians. Jesus, they're bad. And also winning with the Air Force, which is quite unsurprising, I guess. So decimating the German industry quite a bit. So how's the casualty thing going? Hungary joined the Axis. Brilliant. Just what I was waiting for. Exactly what I was waiting for. Bam. try and swarm in. Those are pathetic Italian divisions, so let's try and kill them as quickly as possible. Once you get past the Carpathian Mountains, you should be quite good. Krovia. Oh, here comes D-Day. Here comes D-Day by the Canadians. Nice. Oh, didn't manage to get past the Urals much. Unfortunate. Okay, well, that's failed. Let's put in the tanks. Tanks in Hungary should do quite a bit better. Stop it with the infantry assault. Nothing that great, obviously. Also, we do need to yeah, pump up the plane numbers, obviously. Let's try with the tanks. Supportive infantry. Also, let's just go ham. Let's just end this so you don't have many troops in the north, because they have to deal with the whole African thing. Probably not gonna work. Probably not gonna work at all, but let's just try. Let's just completely overwhelm them. Let's just split Hungary in half. Split Hungary in half, that should work. Let's cut them off right here. It's 3 tiles. Okay. Anything else we can do? I suppose we could do aviation call, but I don't know about that. Let's just do this. Also, let's oh, actually not occupying anything interesting. Let's help with that. And bam, there we go. Split in half. Good. Let's just quickly clean up this this whole mess. What are these guys doing? Not great, but the casualties are worth the cause. We have inflicted 300,000, and they have inflicted 700. Well, actually, the Italians did 100,000 kills. Whatever, killed 100,000 Russians. Whatever. Nice encirclement by the AI, I suppose, but we are now pouring into Germany. Central Germany is going to be dead soon. They have to worry about all these little pathetic landings. Actually, kind of interesting that they didn't even try to declare war on for example, the Norwegians or the Danish. They usually do that right away. Maybe just, I don't know, maybe I'm just not used to playing on historical. Let's ask for these states. Just because why not? It's rightful Russian clay anyway. Right. Bam. There we go. They can keep Zalzia. I never quite managed to pronounce that, even though I probably should. Oh Jesus. That's not, it's definitely not where I was going to go. Let's just clean up these Hungarians, shall we? Also, let's give this guy infantry expert. This guy should have the panzer expert. This guy doesn't have anything because he sucks. Here we go. Dead. Come on, die. Dead. Okay, nice. That's just more infantry. We don't really need more infantry right now. We're 204, basically 230 divisions blasting through the Axis lines. About to take out Hungary. There we go. Really love the border girl guys. Brilliant. 10 out of 10. You know, let's just wait for the borders to clean up a bit. Something like this. And like this, basically. It's a pretty good encirclement of all these panzer units. Okay, so yeah, Germany's basically done. The Slovakians are holding off the best. They've managed to hold me off for like half a year, basically. So the Slovakians are OP in this game, that's for sure. This guy's dead. And yeah, Vienna's going to be ours quite soon. Schleswig-Holstein is ours. It's no Danish, it's rightful Soviet Democratic Republic clay. Indeed. The British alone managed to make a D-Day along with Australian and Canadian troops. Basically this was just me, Poland, and Britain. France did absolutely nothing. All France did was lose the conflict in Africa. That's all they did. They even gave up to the... They actually didn't manage to defend the one border that they actually can defend. The the Maginot Line just gave up completely. The Germans even dismantled. Oh, they didn't. Too bad. That'd be badass if they actually managed to dismantle it. Just a big middle finger to the French. Like, you suck so much we even dismantled it, because they actually managed to just attack frontally into it and went completely. We have now officially reached Holland, or the Netherlands, the lowlands, Swamp Germany, basically. Now officially reached Swamp Germany. It's actually a pretty good campaign. It's quite short. I mean, it's 1940, so not much happened. But just the fact that we were able to save Poland makes me kind of happy. The French thing was that was really bad. I mean, this is the one big chance that France had to actually defend properly, and they completely blew it. It's like, jeez, man. How much? That just makes me want to play as France next game. But yeah, let's just march to Vienna. Let's just go for Vienna, and let's just get Vienna, win this war. Still have Munich, but yeah. Bam, Vienna's ours. How much further? So I guess we just have to take a couple of states. Slovakia is still holding. Do they have any sort of like? They have no generals, no anything. Which is quite sad. Whatever. Let's take Bratislava. Oh, they managed to recapture Vienna. Assholes. Okay. But we're actually about to collide with the Maginot Line. Oh shit! The Hague is now Dunkirk. How much war participation do we have? 71%. The French have 3. Wow, what a great power! Really deserving of that title, man. Totally. The German Reich has capitulated. Nice. Now let's kill off good old Mussolini here. Indeed. The Slovakians are still holding. They still haven't given up. Oh, there you go. But the Slovakians managed to outlast the Germans. It's like the first time I've actually seen that. Usually they just collapse. But this time, man, they pulled through. It's brilliant, I love it. It's amazing. Okay. These guys, let's go help in France with these guys. Because it seems like the Allies are having quite a bit of trouble there. The Vichy French, how many troops do they even have? 4. Okay, that seems like a real big amount, doesn't it? The Italians, we encircled basically their entire army in Hungary. Which is quite sad. Quite sad sight to behold. But Italy, I'm willing to bet most of the troops are suffering in Africa. Yeah, there's like no one here. Which is interesting, but you know, I'm not one to argue with the good thing. don't look at the teeth of a gifted horse, stuff like that. Something that's, you know, the proverb goes something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but any landings, allies usually have quite a good landing spot, but how many troops did the Polish have? 53, so it didn't actually do much. Was there more participation of Poland? It should be quite a bit. Yeah, 13%, basically under me the most. So me and Poland basically did everything. The Slavs are onwards, comrades. The Slavs are winning World War II. Yeah. The French did absolutely nothing. The British did quite a bit, but you know, along with their colonies, obviously. Nation Française, something like that, a non-tolerant French. Oh, right, Zibisenma. That's the Japanese. The Japanese actually managed to win the Chinese war in like half a year. They actually managed to capture the Chinese thing, which is I was quite worried back then. I was like, damn, if the Japanese are this strong, how strong? Wait, so the Yugoslavia has declared war on Bulgaria. Okay, I'm okay with that. The Bulgarians were. Wait, the Kingdom of Romania is also justifying against Bulgaria. What did the Bulgarians do? Jesus. We killed them in the First World War, now one just, you know, electric boogaloo, something number 2? I don't know. It's just, Jesus. Okay, but, yeah, let's just clean it up. Let's just go to Palermo. They should have absolutely no troops there. Actually, still holding. Italy has capitulated. Nice. Well, there we go. Yeah, let's just take everything. Let's just take everything as, because we do deserve it after all. Actually, let's not. Let's not. What we should do is what democratic countries always do, and create small rump states. So, liberated Czechoslovakia. Even though it's Hungary. Not going to argue. Liberating Austria. Nice. Change government. Change government. Let's see what this does. End turn. Bam. Okay, so we have the Czechoslovakia thing. There we go. Yeah, let's give them back their provinces. This map's gonna be hideous, I can already tell you that. Let's also give them this, just to spite the Hungarians. So it's gonna be Czechoslovakia, but the only Slovakian portion is gonna be southern Slovakia. Interesting, interesting. To Austria, let's give as much of Germany as we can. Because we're an asshole. Either we have an insane amount of points, or this is going to be absolutely hilarious. And then to South Africa we give that. And to New Zealand, I don't know, let's just end turn. Yep, done. Whoa, this is beautiful. This is incredibly beautiful. So we have Czechoslovakia, but the only Slovak portion is southern Slovakia, and Slovakia is actually democratic with Jaroslav Chalupa. Don't think that guy ever existed. If he did, then I don't know. And yeah, this guy's back. So South Africa now owns Ostprussen, East Prussia. And if France for some reason didn't take back Provence or the Alps or Savoy, that's okay. I'm just yeah, this is how the world is from now on. This is how it's going to be. And yeah, so rip Bulgaria, press F. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. It's been quite a ride.